they also just got a little bit more love on their back end. David Robertson, your guy, best contract of the offseason, he's going to Miami. So, Marlins are in?
Yeah, I think they've been in. They've been trying to make some trades. I know they've had a bunch of blown saves this month, which typically we know how they play in one-run games. You're starting to blow saves. That kind of takes away from your magic a little bit. So Kim Ng's like, you know what? Let's get that yoked up Alabama dude down here to Miami. That's how you say his name, David Robertson.
Dave Robertson. Hey, is David Robertson still pitching?
Yeah, he's still pitching. He yoked up. Jake Storiale saw him getting out of the shower.
Really impressive core.
We always say that about him.
Don't know.
No, this is interesting though, right? Like the Marlins to us, they've been kind of floundering. That's a good pun right there.
Oh no.
And we think on the outside, hey, Marlins, you got to get some offense. Let's go look. They're another team that's been rumored to be in on Jamer Candelario, which would be interesting for them. Probably a more logical fit. But you got to shore up the back end of a bullpen if you're not happy with what you got going on there. And I think Dave Robertson's the perfect person to do it. To me, this more signifies like the Mets saying, and Jerry Blevins tweeted it out last night. And Jerry Blevins, if he says something, I'm a listening.
You listen.
He said white flag.
Oh, yeah.
Mets have waived it. So now what happens with the Mets? And it's crazy to me, man. And I'm not like Jerry's way more plugged in on the Mets than I am. I'm like not so sold on the white flag waving, but this is it, right? Like if you're trading your guy that's closing games for you, it's kind of a white flag. And like this is a team that a lot of people had in the deep into the playoffs. It just hasn't worked.
Man, and it's looking at their upcoming games, their projected starting pitchers, Scherzer, Carrasco, Verlander, Quintana, Senga. Like it feels like in a way it felt like the Mets just got to this point. But at the same time, and Mark Canna came out with the quote, never shy with the quote. He was like, well, we should have played better earlier. If we
They're 17 games back.
If we didn't want David Robertson to be traded, we should have played better. And he's not wrong. Like
they have the third worst record in the National League. Actually that's not true. They're 7 games back of the wild card, 17 games back of the division. They're only, it's.
I think what's going to be interesting because you can trade D-Rob, and by the way, like that bullpen's felt thin all year. Obviously, the Edwin Diaz injury before the season, which is just crazy to think about how far we've come from that. This is some deep cut Jake BS, but I thought Montez de Oco was going to be gross for them. He gets TJ. It's how hard do they sell? Like we've started to see Verlander rumors now. We're seeing Scherzer rumors. Like Adam Ottavino's back there, Brooks Raley. Like a lot of their guys on offense. We've talked corner outfielders. If you want to get crazy and make Mets fans mad, you can talk about Alonso with 1.5 years left. How deep does this sell go? Like, are they going to still leave a roster on the field that you said 7 games back of the wild card? Are they still going to leave a roster on the field that we're going to keep talking about them and be like, hey, the Mets are 3.5 out of the wild card? Like that, I guess that's what I'm curious about because let's say if they don't sell a lot more, like let's say they sell a Tommy Pham or Mark Canna because they have some corner outfield depth. That lineup and rotation still looks like what the Mets thought they were going to have this year.
Yeah, Francisco Alvarez is young, so he's going to be there. Jeff McNeil signed a contract. Francisco Lindor signed a contract.
Nimmo.
Brett Beatty is young. He'll be there. Nimmo signed a contract.
Lindor's there forever.
So I misspoke a little bit about them not too long ago. Mets fans made sure I heard about it when I said I think the Padres have more of a core than the Mets. And we have a core. We have a core. Okay, they do. They have people that are going to be there. People that they believe in that are going to be there for for the foreseeable future. So if you're selling, If you sell Verlander and Scherzer, to me, that means you kind of give up on next year as well.
Really?
Unless you go back out into free agency and buy some pitching.
Right.
Right?
Which they could.
Which they could. There are some people that are going to be available, but then you're kind of back to the same point that you were.
I'll tell you what would be a weird feeling. They've got 3 with the Nats, 3 with Kansas City. If they win 5 or 6, God, that D-Rob trade would eat at me a little bit as a Mets fan. Just a little bit.
If Jolly invited us to his fucking party,
Yeah.
I'd call him right now and ask him what he felt about that trade, but I'm not going to.
Fuck that. Marlins.
Check out that. Zach and I are going over there.
I've got one thing that's been shaking me up. I click around Fangraphs a lot. I keep getting this brassiere advertisement. It's just ladies in bras, and I just come on.
Straight
I can't.
to Fangraphs?
Algorithm knows what you like.
Where is that ad?
I'm trying to get some work done. Look at it. I mean, this is.
I don't get those ads, bro.
I can't.
My ad right now is Hershey's chocolate syrup
I love the algorithm.
and baby lotion. Oh my.
Marlins retooled back of the pen. Let's see what they do for the lineup.